All right, everybody, it is 6 p.m., so we'll call this meeting to order.
Mayor Holland,
Here.
Commissioner Taylor,
Here.
Commissioner Finch,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Messer,
Here.
Commissioner Vogel, here, Commissioner Normal.
Here.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to excuse Commissioner Taylor.
Motion to excuse Commissioner Taylor's on the floor. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion is approved. This time, I'd like to invite a very good friend of mine and close personal friend of mine, Pastor Freddie Braswell with Emerald Isle Baptist Church, to lead us in our prayer.
Thank you all for allowing me to be with you. And we appreciate everything, all the way back to Superman, that all of you do in so many ways. So let us pray together. Lord, thank you for this evening. To live in this place, to be in this place, is a gracious blessing. We thank you for all of the leadership that we have on this island. From the mayor and all of the team who administer, the council, and all of the staff who work to make this a place that is better than they found it each and every day. Thank you for those who reach out to make our lives safe. We do not take for granted those who are on watch 24 hours a day so that we can be safe. The places we live, the places we work, the community that we thrive in. Thank you for giving us a place where we can love each other. We can disagree, but we can still respect one another. And may you give the individuals tonight who are leading us, everyone, the citizens who listen and speak, the council and the leaders who will decide, the wisdom to know what is right for this time and for this place. And always we will give you thanks for a community that is built, yes, upon sand. And sometimes it moves here and there, but a community that is solid in the belief that this is the place we're supposed to be. Thank you so much. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you for letting me be.
Pastor Freddie, thank you so much for being here, sir. We appreciate it greatly.
Jason, your voice is coming everywhere. I love that. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. All right, if everyone would stand and face the flag with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, item number 5 on the agenda would be the adoption of the agenda. Is there a motion to adopt?
So moved.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion is approved. Next up, we have some public announcements and then a proclamation following that. All right, our next Emerald Fest will be Thursday, July 14th at 6:30 p.m. at the Western Ocean Regional Access, featuring Captain Dick and the Lost Seaman. Our next Golf Cart Advisory Committee meeting will be July 19th at 5:30 in the town boardroom. Police Educating the Public will be the Emerald Isle Sea Turtle Patrol, July 19th at 6:30 in the town boardroom. The following Emerald Fest will be Forever All, July 21st at 6:30 p.m. at Western Ocean Regional Access. And prior to that, our Heroes Academy presents a Slice of Safety at 6 o'clock. Our next planning board meeting will be July 25th at 6 p.m. in the town boardroom. And our next Coffee with a Cop will be July 28th at 9 a.m. in the town boardroom. Emerald Fest returns on July 28th at 6:30 p.m. with the Feltons. Again, our Heroes Academy presents a Slice of Safety at 6 p.m. I encourage everyone to come out for that Heroes Academy at 6 p.m. There's a lot of great information there. Our next Neighborhood Watch Board meeting will be Tuesday, August 2nd at 4 p.m. in the town boardroom. And Emerald Fest once again returns with Pamlico Joe and the Clean Water Flow, August 4th at 6:30. And our next Board of Commissioners meeting will be August 9th at 6 p.m. here in the town boardroom. Somewhere, I've got a proclamation I'd like to read for Little Pink Houses of Hope. I see Kathy back there too. Would you ladies and anybody else with Little Pink join me up front, please? Put you on the spot a little bit. This is Lynn Griffin and Kathy Schaefer. They're with Little Pink Houses of Hope. If you don't know what Little Pink Houses is, it's a nonprofit that was established approximately 13 years ago to give breast cancer patients and their families a free week-long vacation. And I believe we have families from 8 states coming in on August 15th. Their cost of their trip is 100% funded through volunteers, donors, local businesses, and things of that such, so that breast cancer survivors and their families can come enjoy some quality time with their families, some relaxation, and some natural healing. So hats off to everybody with Little Pink Houses, and have this proclamation I'd like to read now. Little Pink Houses of Hope Week, August 14th through 20th, 2022. Whereas Little Pink Houses of Hope is a nonprofit organization that was established in 2009 to give breast cancer patients and their families a free week-long vacation, and whereas these retreats give a needed respite from medical appointments, the burden of health care bills, and other concerns, while allowing the families to relax together and rediscover hope. And whereas this program was named the 2021 National Breast Cancer Nonprofit of the Year, and whereas Emerald Isle is pleased to host 10 families this year for Little Pink Houses of Hope. Now, therefore, I, Jason Holland, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the town of Emerald Isle, do hereby proclaim the week of August 14th through August 20th, 2022 as Little Pink Houses of Hope Week in Emerald Isle. In witness thereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the town of Emerald Isle, North Carolina, to be affixed this 12th day of July, 2022. Jason Holland, Mayor. Thank you all for what you do. It's a really great thing. Thank you. This time I'd like to invite up Chief Bill Walker for some employee recognitions.
Mayor, unfortunately, Donnie could not attend tonight.
Okay.
But Chief Walker's still going to say some nice things about him.
Excellent.
I appreciate the opportunity to speak about Donnie. He's going to be here tonight. His wife became ill. He had to take her into the hospital one night. So we told him he's probably better off staying with her than with us tonight. So Donnie's been with us for 34 years as of June this year. He joined back in 1988, I believe, before the fire service in North Carolina even had certifications. So he's been with the town a long time, been through a lot of fires, a lot of emergencies, a lot of hurricanes. He's very dedicated, does a great job with the fire department. He's pretty much the administrative chief that keeps me out of trouble with the paperwork. But he's really a great asset to the town and to the department. And he still makes all the calls late night when the rest of us rely on him the most. But we really appreciate him, and we hope his wife gets well and he's in for another year. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Hi, Matt. How are you?
I have the distinct opportunity tonight to introduce our new planning director, Michelle Eitner. Michelle joined our staff officially in a full-time capacity on Friday, July 1st. She most recently spent the last 6 years of her career with our good friends and neighbors down the banks at Atlantic Beach. And we were fortunate to acquire her talent to our team. And Michelle comes with some great experience both at Atlantic Beach but also educationally. So if you are a Pirates fan, she has her Bachelor's of Science from ECU, and she also has her master's degree from UNCW at Wilmington. So at this time, we'd like to introduce Michelle and have her come up and hopefully share a few words and welcome her to our staff.
Thank you, Matt.
Hi, everyone. I'm not accustomed to holding a microphone, so I hope you'll forgive me if my voice goes up and down a little bit. I am excited to be part of the crew here. Some of the staff have been here since before I was born. Sorry, Chief. So to be a part of a community that can boast that kind of tenure means a lot. And that kind of support system that I'm already seeing from staff and from the commissioners. So I appreciate everyone, and I look forward to speaking with you tonight a little bit more on some interesting items. If you have any questions, come and see me at Town Hall. I'm always up for a chat or anything like that.
Thank you, Michelle, and welcome. You're welcome. We're glad to have you, and an immense thank you to Donnie Askew and his 34 years of service, and wishing his wife a speedy recovery as well. Next item would be our public comment segment. If there's any members of the public that wish to comment on anything that is not on the agenda tonight, there was a sign-up sheet in the back, but if you missed that, feel free to come up to the podium and we'll get you a microphone.
At this time, we have nobody who signed up.
Ma'am. Item 9 would be our consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion is approved. This time I'd like to invite Laura Rochford, our finance director, to give us an update on our FEMA grant funding.
Thank you. I'm very happy to give an update on our FEMA 428 public assistance grant projects. We were recently notified on the 1st of July of our second FEMA 428 grant award, and it's very exciting news. And I just want to mention a little bit about our existing project. We have one underway that's already been awarded. It was awarded in January, and that was for some new stormwater improvements that are planned at Lee Avenue, Reed Drive, and Cedar Street. And so we are hoping to have those bids out here shortly on that project. Just real briefly about the 428 program. It's a newer program under FEMA public assistance guidelines. And during Hurricane Florence, FEMA and the town agreed on fixed cost offers on our largest projects. And if that program becomes available, if we are able to come in under cost on those repair and recovery projects. So if we come in under cost, under budget, we can go ahead and apply for those excess funds. And so that's what we're working on right now on these new projects. Specifically during Florence, FEMA was awarded over $46 million for our beach nourishment when we lost quite a bit of sand during the storm. And we worked to finalize those projects, working with the Shoreline Protection Office, our neighboring towns, Indian Beach and Pine Knoll Shores, for joint construction. And we were able to come in under that project by $9.8 million. So this award is the first of 3. We split that request for excess funds into 3 projects. And the first one is for emergency vehicles and equipment. Thank you for the slide, I appreciate that. And so what that entails is it's just about $3.5 million. And we have requested 2 fire engines, 2 new ambulances, quite a few dual band radios for all of our police, fire, and EMS, 4 jet skis, a dump truck that will be 4-wheel drive and be able to go out and pick up debris, go on the beach for debris removal, and a tractor with a front loader for debris removal. So that's the emergency equipment that we've just been awarded. Super excited, and we're going to start working on competitively putting together bid packages to get that equipment underway. The next section, I just wanted to let everybody know that this is still under review with FEMA. We've separated this project grouping for stormwater improvements. It's just under $1.5 million, and that's to replace culverts along Archer's Creek, at Cedar Street, at Bogue Inlet Drive, at Old Ferry, and then also a large dune infiltration stormwater project at the Land's End area. So that's one of the ones that we're hoping to have some good news on as well, and it'll take a little longer for review. And then our last section is for resilient structures and buildings. A large project as well. This is just under $5 million. And our request in that package is to rebuild Fire Station number 2, to place permanent generators at our stormwater pumps and at the community center, to rebuild 10 beach access walkways with resilient materials and strengthen those. We want to add 3 phase a three-phase power rather at our stormwater pump locations, and then also do some site improvements at our new yard debris site. So very exciting, and we're hoping that these will come through as well. And I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Good job.
Thank you so much, Laura. Great job, Laura, Matt, all the staff that worked many, many hours on this. A lot of fantastic news there. Thank you all very much. All right, at this time, I'd like to invite up Candace Dooley, our Parks and Rec Director, for an update on the McLean-Spell Park Survey.
Mayor and board, thank you for having me. I just wanted to take this opportunity to remind everyone, just kind of give you an update on the survey for McLean-Spell Park. The official survey itself is going to close on Saturday, July the 16th for online input. And we are actually going to have an in-person meeting in this room tomorrow, which is July the 13th, beginning at 6 p.m. Should anyone wish to attend. I will have 4 individuals from Summit Engineering who are here with us. It's going to be a roundtable format, so we invite the public out to give us your input. We did already hold 2 virtual stakeholder meetings last week that were well attended, extremely productive, and very insightful for this project. To date, we have had 817 online responses, which is huge for any kind of an online survey. And I can tell you that Summit Engineering is also taken aback by this. So the public is very engaged, and we're excited about that. And so that gives us great hope moving forward with this project. The purpose of the survey and the stakeholder meetings is to gain a better understanding of what form of recreation the people, the public, would like to have in this park, be it passive or active. We promised when we purchased this land years ago that we would utilize 9 plus or minus acres for recreational purposes. And so now we are seeking the public's input as to what we're going to do with that acreage. So this is your opportunity. Take the survey, attend tomorrow night, and I will continue to update the board and commissioners, mayor, and the public as we move forward with this project, where we can hopefully bring a final project presentation to you at the end of the year. Just a little history on this land. It's about 30 acres. We could have seen 200 or more condos plus parking going up in this area. So this is a huge project for us to be able to have this recreational space, whether we leave it natural or we have some kind of amenity in there, whatever it is that the public seeks to have. So we're excited to receive the full report and recommendations from the public, and I will present those, like I said, to the Board of Commissioners when it is complete. And I'm happy to answer any questions you might have at this time.
Thank you, Candace. Any questions from the board at this time? Thank you for the update. We appreciate that. Next item up would be our public hearing. This public hearing is going to be held concerning the Sweet Willie's Beach Blitz special use permit application. So we'll need a motion to open the public hearing.
May I please hold off on that?
Yes, ma'am.
We get our procedure in place. This is a special use permit.
Yes.
It's a quasi-judicial evidentiary hearing, so I want to make sure that we go through kind of a checklist and get a different frame of reference in mind before we go into it. It's quasi-judicial. It's kind of like a courtroom. So you guys are the judge and jury, and everybody is presenting evidence to you. So evidence that you feel is not competent, substantial evidence, you guys can disregard it. We're not going to have hearsay. We're going to have, I think I've provided a little rundown on this memo. We need to have expert witness testimony for providing any professional opinions. Otherwise, it's just general opinion, and we need to make sure those that are testifying have standing to do that, to testify. So I've provided a little bit of a procedure just to break down how it needs to flow. So one of the things we'll start off with is, we'll kick off this agenda item, but anybody who's going to testify, including staff, is going to swear in with the clerk and give name and address for the record. So I want to see if that's okay to go ahead and do that. And while we're working with the clerk to do that, if you guys want to read through this, if you haven't already, just to get an idea of what we're going to be looking at.
Okay. Thank you. So at this point, we would request anybody that is testifying to to make themselves known so we can swear them in, correct?
Warren is my input. Thank you.
We okay with opening the public hearing portion of this? Okay. Is there a motion to open the public hearing?
So move.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, motion is approved and the public hearing is now open.
All right, I've placed myself at the top of the list, though I feel that Mr. Drum is going to present most of the information on the case. I just wanted to go through a little bit on the procedure. We've provided some information. There's a memo in the agenda packet, and I think we've also got a drawing of kind of the site plan for it. And Mr. Drum, he brought a larger copy of the site plan for it, but on the board we've got, so this is his site plan, and then I've also got that aerial view of the pier so that we can reference these. So this is one of the things we're looking at. He'll go through this a little bit more to kind of explain, break down the event that he's looking at, but we've got September 10th and 11th with a closing on the 12th that we're looking at for this special event, and it qualifies as a special use permit under our ordinances. So we've got a little bit more procedure to go through than we would for any other typical item. So we're working through this. I've got an extensive application that was provided, but we'll have Mr. Drum go through a lot of these items so that they're stated on the record. If there are any questions, feel free to ask any of us that were sworn in, and we'll get you the answer or put you in touch with the answer. Are there any questions for me before we speak with Mr. Drum?
Not this time.
Okay.
Mayor, Board, thank you for taking a few minutes and giving me the opportunity to present what I think it will be a really fun, entertaining weekend for all the families in the local area. As me and my old partner, Billy Farrington, back in 1987 through 1997, we used to have Sweet Willie's Surf Shop, and we put on Sweet Willie's Surf Challenge back in the 90s, which was just shy of the equivalency of Ronnie Watson's Beach Music Festival, which was held in May. Ronnie, he had his event in May, and then ours was in June, and we had pretty good turnout as well. So we had like 10 years under our belt of putting on these types of events, and we just felt like it was the time to really, with all the evil in the world, we just felt like it was the time to do something on a family event to bring a little joy to the families instead of all the tribulations and trials that we're up against. So we went through a lengthy process to put together what I feel like would be an entertaining weekend. We're tied into Camp Lejeune with the Wounded Warrior program with this program. That given the permission through the town, we're donating 10% of the monies that we are raising through the sponsorship of putting this type of event on. Naturally, I've been working on this thing for over a year and a half. It was presented a while back to have this event earlier, and through the channels and with some of the employees taking change and stuff, it kind of got passed, not overlooked, but just the way to approach y'all and to present this is, unfortunately, is at the tail end. I'm a lot more professional. If I would have known that I had to go through this process months ago, I'd have been standing here months ago. But we're here today, and unfortunately, we only have a decision to be making. Hopefully, I can present it in an opportunity and a way to show you that it's advantageous for not only just myself, but all the retail stores that will benefit as far as the business, all the restaurants, the motels. I mean, we already had motels rented and a bunch of people coming up from out of town to the earlier weekend that we were going to have the event. So the structure of the event is going to be on Bogue Inlet Pier. I talked with Mike Stanley for giving me an opportunity to have the event at the pier. I'm very aware of the logistics of the event, being that I'm a 52-year local here. I've built my house in 1980, so I'm a 42-year permanent resident. So I'm just not coming in on a whim and trying to pull and get you guys to, you know, throw your minds together. I'm here as a local, been a taxpayer for years and years, business owner for years and years, and continue to be one. So I've got the credentials to stand here in front of you. I've got the sponsorships and the business people behind me that are behind this event, doctors in Jacksonville, furniture store owners, and I go on, but tonight's not that opportunity. What I need to do is just present what we're going to try to provide. It's a 2-day event in which in some of the events that I have on here in the flyer, or if you have some of the paperwork, we have a volleyball tournament that we have. All this is going to be structured on the beach. If the drawing was up on board, if we could pull that drawing up, it's all going to be behind the safety, underneath the pier, the red marks on the pier pilings, and we can structure our events so there's not going to be any issues with any of the liabilities as far as not being able to get through the traffic on the beach. So we have a volleyball tournament that the town used to help me. Alicia Sanderson was the one that helped me ran the event back in that day. It was a big success. Okay, there you go. If you guys can kind of look with me, I'm just going to step back. And we have the volleyball, which will be still structured down here on the beach. The only thing that I would need from the town to agree upon is I have to have just a little bit of time to put the stuff up. So what I'm saying by that, I got to set the 4x4s in the ground. I have to be prepared for the event to start off Saturday morning. My suggestion is that we changed over to 9/11, which gives us the opportunity to be able to drive on the beach. In June, we couldn't. 9/11, yeah, you guys opened up maybe the beach, or I'm not sure if it is. And Matt's saying it's probably not. The 15th. Then in that situation, we would have to be able to at least go down. My suggestion would be if we would go down Friday evening and do a night shift and set our stuff up so we're not infringing on anybody during the day. I would have my chiefs and my Indians, or we would have to set up the volleyball poles to be able to handle the nets. The surfing, what we have volleyball, we have surfing that we've done for years and years. That's another part of the event. With the cornhole being as big as it is in today's time, that's one of the features that we added to this event. So you would have the surfing, and as far as what they need on the beach, as far as anything to structurally to be a deterrent for any kid to fall over or get anything hurt, we've already discussed that. All we're going to have is a couple tents to keep the guys out of shade and some tables to work off of so I can keep my speakers up off the ground. So when I'm playing and having to call the heats for the surfers and et cetera, as far as the commentary and the PA system that's on the beach. We're not out here to blast everybody with megawatts and have complaints on the beach with too loud of music. We're just here to entertain the crowd that's on the beach, but we also have to have the availability to call the heats. So that'll be structured right here at the surf. We'll have surfing, the volleyball, and I also have it's a Muscle Beach character program that I built. It's kind of where they take the pictures of a character. You have where a piece of plywood and they cut the face out and you stick your face in there and everybody takes a picture. And then you have Muscle Beach and Venice Beach where they physically pick the weights up on Muscle Beach. Well, I physically built these 8-foot characters to set them up on the beach free for the people to enjoy, where you would take the heads off and all the tourists that are having fun will stand behind the figure, take their pictures, everybody goes home, puts it on their Facebook and has fun. So that's what that area right there, that's just Muscle Beach, same thing. We have all I do is put a piece of PVC in the ground. My character goes over the PVC. There's nothing for anybody to get scratched, hurt, get any splinters or anything or any kind of. Trust me, I know about the town and the liability. If they stub their toe, they're coming after you. So that's what that Muscle Beach area is. The cornhole on the right side of the pier, all we're looking to do there is we're going to have to block off a little area so everybody can't walk out. So what I do is I put a piece of PVC, I run a piece of mason string through it, and put survey tape over it. So what you have, if we're looking at this room, my cornhole boards will be in here playing, and it's just to keep the public outside of that area. That's what I would structure on the beach for the cornhole boards, for the surfing, for the volleyball. So it's all just singled out where everybody has their own section of room right here. And then you have your cornhole. And back in back in the 80s and 90s, the horseshoes. We had horseshoes, and all the older fellas that had their kids out there having fun. They enjoyed the horseshoes just as much as the surfers enjoyed the surfing. So we kept the horseshoes intact. And on the other side of the horseshoes, if you've ever been to Camp Lejeune, they actually build the sand castles on the beach. That's the kind of a thing, you start them in the morning at 9 o'clock, and then you judge them at 5 o'clock at the end of the day. There's a team, they take water, they build phenomenal things out of sand. Another family event for them to come and enjoy. That's the sand castle building. And then the last two events, and I know it sounds like a ton of events, in the last two events, you have sack races and three-legged races for the kids. Each one of my events, I have a chief and they have their own Indians. What I mean by that is my volleyball is the fellow that owns East Coast Volleyball Academy out of Wilmington. He has professional and even Olympian volleyball players that go to his facility. Him and his crew are going to be the ones that are coming and run the volleyball part of it. The surfing part of it, I have the Southern Eastern Director of Carolina Beach that puts on 8, 10 different events, and she runs the whole Southern District. She's bringing her crew and all her Indians to run the surfing part of my event. All these are people and friends of mine that I've been dealing with for years. The cornhole is a VA rep, a man that's a teacher out of White Oak High School. The horseshoes are as another VA. The sack races and the three-legged races are teachers out of White Oak High School. I've also tied in the Board of Education through the White Oak, that if the kids volunteer to come and get involved in the program, that they're able to get SAT hours to apply towards their college degrees. So we've tied in Camp Lejeune, we've tied in the Board of Education, we've got the Chiefs and the Right Indians to play. I've got 10 years of doing this in my back pocket. I've been here 52 years as far as a local, so I've got the background to put this together. I'm asking you to give me the go-ahead, get this under our belt for the first year. We're going to have a few bumps. There's not an event that you don't have bumps. But between the staff we got here, myself, and my crew that's behind me, to me it's an easy situation to make sure that we have a good event for the families to really come and enjoy. On top of what we have, St. Patrick's Day Festival, the race that Miss Dooley puts on. Now we're going to incorporate on top of that, we're bringing back the Beach Music Festival again. So with Sweet Willy's just ahead of the game, I think with those 4 agendas and those 4 family events and different events structured in their own style, I think I stand here proudly to be able to represent my program. But I need your help, I need your guidance, and I need your assistance. At first, when we looked at your program and I was asked about the parking, well, when we were looking at June, then back in my day, I used the natural beach traffic, which is you already got the tourist business, you already got the fishing, Mike Stanley's pier is already full based on his own business. So when I looked at maybe we might have 3,000, 4,000 people, well, that's in the middle of summer. And that would say if you had 4,000 people and 2 people per car, you're parking 2,000 cars. Now, if I had to guess, and I'm at September 11th, which is it's after Labor Day, everybody's going back to school, this is going to give me a good feeling on really what my event will draw based on my marketing, my radio ads, my flyers, my Facebook, social media outlets. So I don't have really a figure I can put on, but if I had to say it really, if I just used 100 contestants in most of my events, the surfing, the volleyball, the cornhole, the big ones, if I had 100 contestants and they all had a friend, that'd be 600. So now if I even bumped it up to 1,000, that's probably realistically maybe 1,000, 1,500 people that if I had to pull them on myself. Now, I would hope it'd be more, but realistic on the first year, not knowing, I feel like that's a realistic number. So if we use that number at 1,500, and now we say there's 2 people to a car, now we're back down to 750 cars. The pier parking lot holds 300 cars, I think Mike said. So we're looking at an overflow of maybe 400 cars. To me, I mean, the town's capable of holding thousands of people at your St. Patrick's Day Festival that you park everybody up and down the road on both sides of the road. Thousands of people can attend that. The traffic's maintained. You park on the side of the road. You have police on the corners to keep the flow going, and everybody's happy, and it's worked out so far because we're all in the same situation as far as catering to the public. My event is no different. The only difference in my event is that in your all events, the race, the St. Patrick's Day Festival, and the new coming Beach Music Festival is at the west end of the island. So they get out of the car, they walk through the grass, and they're right there at Publix. They're right there at the Food Lion. Well, the only difference in mine is that I'm asking the board to consider that if we're going to have any overflow, that we park them up here at the east end, just on the other side of the reception building, or that building that's right there where Fran's gift shop was. You have the same side of the berms that you have on when you come over the bridge. You got grass, a bush, a tree, grass, a bush, a tree, and in between those sections, you park your cars. That's the same side of the road that the berm comes all the way up to the east end. I'm only saying that because when you visually drive there, he's right. You could have a fewer parking, because I don't want the lady with the child coming to go and take her kid to the 3-legged race, have to push them 2 miles up the road to get there. If they have to get out by Fran's gift shop, then they can come up the Pier Road, they can come up the sidewalks, and they can get to the event. That, in my mind, is the only logistic thing that I think that we'll have to get through. But you had to get through it at the prior events. So that would be, you know, and I'm aware of the cost, that if you have to have off-duty police officers to fill in the time frame that you need to have there, you don't need anybody a full extra load at 8 o'clock in the morning. You might need them there between 10 to 4 on a Saturday. And then when that crowd, half that crowd is going to lose on Saturday, so they're not going to be back on Sunday. So then you would have maybe an 11 to 3, that you'd have a couple extra police that had to be on my payroll to make sure that they were available in case there was any situation. Other than the parking, I really don't see any really major issues as far as allowing the event to be.
Thank you, Mr. Drunk.
I mean, I know I'm wordy, but it needed to be it needed to be everything be brought on the table.
Yes, sir. Yes,
I've got a question.
Yes, sir.
Is this deal a for-profit deal for you?
No, sir. When I had my business and with Sweet Willy Surf Shop, we had the business and we utilized the business. We had it on that weekend. We had 5,000 people, but the following weekend they came in my store and they shopped with me. That's where I benefited on this. The only thing I'm doing, I'm volunteering, and actually it's costing me more money out of my pocket to put on such an event with the overhead that I'm doing.
So you're doing this out of the goodness of your heart?
To be honest with you, sir, it is.
That answers my question. Thank you.
It is, sir.
I have a question. Will there be any other proposed activities other than what you've laid out for us tonight?
No, sir.
So there's no surprises, no other events, nothing
No,
happening
no,
other than what we've talked about or you've talked about this evening?
No, sir, because my whole intent, sir, was to build a relation with this event to be able to be on your schedule for, like I did in the years past, for the next 10 years. Is what I like. I like the weekend being a marketer with 9/11, with first responders, Camp Lejeune, Cherry Point. I'm very good with working with people. So no, sir, everything I put out here is up front on the board. It was brought for the insurance situation. They made it to what they wanted as far as your insurance coverage to include the town of Emerald Isle, the Bogue Inlet Fishing Pier, and myself. So the liability, the insurance is in place for the event. And it's just a weekend insurance policy because we're only going to have it for the 3 days. But it's a $2 million policy up on the board. It covers the town, myself, and the pier. So our insurance is covering. It's like I said, the only thing was the logistics of the parking.
You also have coverage for fire, police, EMS. Is that in your equation as far as paying those additional expenses for officers and what have you?
Well, no, sir. If, to be honest with you, the only thing that was brought to my attention at that time that we had the meeting was that there might be some additional police officers that had to be, because back in my time, we didn't have any cost. The town helped you out. They did the stuff, and we all laughed, and that was 25 years ago, sweet Will. You know, now here's where we're at today.
Could the police chief or someone elaborate more on that as far as the officers and the need for that?
Based on the size of the event, I would.
Chief, if you would, grab a mic so everybody online can hear us. Thank you, sir.
Based on the size of the event, I would propose that we have at least 6 additional police officers to maintain event security in that area.
Can you give us a cost on that?
I can tell you that it's upwards of about $50 an officer for a grand total of north of $7,000 to about $8,000. That includes the officer's salary. It includes fuel, obviously, to get there, things such as that.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Chief.
Jeff, can you help me with the space a little bit on the map? I'm a visual sort of hands-on person. Is it 200 feet from the pier on each side, or?
Yeah, I would say yes, ma'am. With on each side of the pier, you'll probably, because you know the surfing, you'll have a tent, and there's you only have 2 8-foot tents and some bright, so you'll take 50, 75, 100 foot for the surfing, and then you'll give a little break, and the volleyball has to have their room. So I would say yes, ma'am. Easily, probably 200 foot per side.
And how about accounting for the space from the dune line to the ocean? That weekend we'll be coming off a king tide.
What is your question?
The space from where you're planning the space, how many feet do you think you'll have from that emergency line to the ocean?
To the ocean, you probably got 200, 250 feet.
Okay.
Easily. And then like my cornhole boards are only 7 wide, so you might be 50 feet wide by 50 feet in a square. And then like behind the square is just a tent to maintain when you got people that are signing up. Definitely they got to make, hey, when's my heat, when's this, when's that. So each one of the events, you'll notice I got a little volleyball tent. I got the tent for the character tent. It's just where people are side up, all the volunteers under the tent, so they keep maintaining like the characters. I don't want anybody tearing that stuff up. I got thousands of dollars built in them things. I don't want anybody tearing up anything that's out there.
Sure.
We have our own security. I think six officers and another $8,000 additional dollars is pretty heavy for a little first-time event trying to get on here. And a full-time 6 people, I don't believe personally. Now it's up to y'all. But I don't believe that you'll need that many officers from that whole time frame. You can use them, like I said, in broken time frames, and we can work together in this matter. I'm sure you'll need them, but I mean, you're hitting me at full on, and I wish I could, and maybe I can get to that stage. But it's, to generate the dollars that it puts me on, like the fella says, am I making money? No, I'm digging in my pocket because I want to have an event that everybody can come here and enjoy themselves. We need something like this. And I'm the guy that can make it happen. I'm not loaded. I work hard. I work 3 jobs. But I'm taking the time to put it together with the right backbone to make it so we have something moving forward. I'm a good captain. I can drive a ship. I can handle the crew. And I don't mind fighting for it. That's what I'm standing here doing. I need your help.
Chief, was that figure $7,300?
May I interject, Mike, real quick? So my job is peanut counting. Jeff, are you asking for, in your opinion, what time will your event start on Saturday, September 10th?
The events, to be honest with you, by the time I feel like everybody gets signed up, the surfers that are there at crack and dawn, and we can get the surfers going. The rest of the volleyball, the horseshoes, the cornhole, the actual event, I don't believe, to start throwing bags or really getting anything underway till 10 o'clock. And then we'll push from 10 to 4 to 10 and finish it up by 10. We're looking to finish it up by 5 o'clock. in the same time frame will start up in the next morning. But like I said, you'll lose half your crew because they'll be eliminated from the games.
So if, I'm not trying to press you, my question is, what time will you start on Saturday, September 10th?
I would say, well, if you're saying, I would say 10 o'clock would be the time frame to put on there.
No, maybe I'm not asking the question appropriately. You'll have guests arriving how early on Saturday the 10th? 6, 7 a.m.?
I would say 7:30, your surface would be.
So let's say 7 o'clock, 7:30. When we produce the marathon, which draws approximately 1,200 plus runners, we are in position extremely early. So traffic will start to flow early. So I would say to you kindly that 10 o'clock a.m. to have the police officers arrive is not a good situation. So what Chief was indicating, if I ran the basic math based on Jeff's verbal, if you went 10 to 4, that's a 6-hour window, and 11 to 3 is a 4-hour window. Each officer is a minimum of $50 an hour, which includes their hourly wage, which is averaged rate at $35 an hour, plus the fuel, plus usage of the vehicles. A round number to use is $50 an hour. That's around $300 an hour for 6 officers. If you only ran it 6 hours, that's $1,800. If you ran an additional 4, that's $1,200. So in the hours that Mr. Drum is presenting, it's around $3,000 minimum. That's the very minimum that we would have to pay. From an events planner's perspective and a chief information officer's role, we would never bring them in at that time. We would bring them in advance, so they would have to start at 7 so that they're there in position, lights on, vests on, to help direct and flow the traffic. We always bring them in early, and we always keep them a little after in the event of a problem. So what I would say back to you in this quasi-judicial form is, more than likely, I think when Chief is sitting here doing his calculations, he's probably assuming that 7 a.m. start to a 4 a.m. finish, and maybe on Sunday you can potentially push it to an 8 a.m. start and a 4 or 3 p.m. finish, which would ultimately result in his near $7,000 figure, which is right on point.
And that would be correct. With all due respect, we did not have a time frame for the event, so I based it on 12 hours a day, well, a total of 24 hours. We can't bring officers to an event that's already begun. If the event begins and people are arriving early, such as 6:30, my proposal would be 7 a.m., even back it back to 6 a.m. to a 6 p.m. A good 12 hours a day. That's to ensure that people get in and get out of the event area safely.
That's how we would normally attack it, and we're not being disrespectful to you in hopes that your event is extremely well attended. We just can't pick the phone up in the event that there's a lot of traffic. And I can share with you statistically that in the month of June, if I can recall my data accurately, there was approximately 474,000 cars that went through the Coast Guard 58 interchange, and nearly 35,000 of those cars turned and went southbound on Bogue Inlet Drive. That was in a 30-day period. So we're seeing numbers, excessive numbers on the weekend in the 1, 2, and 3,000 figure turning and trying to get to Bogue Inlet. And we can say to the people that are in the audience that call us to talk about the backup and the clogging that the reason we didn't want to see your event in June, it wasn't the excitement about your event. We were already over capacity in June. We're still running between 90 and 95% capacity all the way through September. So whether Sweet Willie's Beach Blitz occurs the 9th, 10th, and 11th, we will automatically anticipate traffic issues at this intersection. So we need to be overly prepared when a special event occurs. That's the only reason that we're asking, when do you think the peak numbers, when do you think the people will arrive?
Can we stay on that theme just a minute? The looks like a great event, and for the right reasons. In the years past, my, I guess, efforts while on the board with St. Patty's Day, the Beach Music Festival, not so much the marathon. Candace has her own crew for that, but my deal has been behind the scenes, dollars and cents, not just for the law enforcement, but for this event, if you've got 500, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, that's a couple more shifts of lifeguards, it's an opinion, that I would want to send down on the beach strand. In our other large events, we pre-stage our EMS truck, crew, paramedic, may or may not bring in the county. I don't know what the proper term is. They've got a big, large vehicle where you can do more things if somebody needs help, if you will. And then the town budgets in our annual budget, and we pay for that. And it's a good thing. But that budget number creeps up fast to $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 to pull all that off. And so saying all that, my question is, and you know what I do behind the scenes, it's not just the LEOs. What is the cost to the town if we let the gentleman do a great event? Is it $20,000, $30,000? And we don't have a budget for that. We don't have a line number for that. I don't have anything against the event, but who pays for it?
So it's a great question, and we've had 2 sit-down face-to-face meetings with Jeff and his team, and the original numbers were anticipated as high as 4,000 or 5,000 or 6,000 people, which caused us to share back just an LEO stat that if we needed 10 officers at $50 an hour per officer, it was potentially as high as $500 an hour. So I think we're seeing an accordion-style conversation here because we're doing our very best to make sure, number one, we are prepared, and 2, that the taxpayers aren't carrying that load to help produce a standalone special event. Also, what I would share back on the record is that the other events contribute back to our budget. So there's been hundreds of thousands of dollars reaped back for the marathon, for example, back to the bike and ped path, and then also all the other derivative events where town staff or laborers are accounted for. There is a massive amount of scholarships generated and other donations that are made. So we wanted to just bring this before the board's attention before committing at a staff level to an event that just with law enforcement officers could be as little as 3,000 to 4,000 and as realistic as 7,000 to 8,000. Then when you account for minimum of 2 additional lifeguards, potentially up to 4, uses of the roving jeeps, and then potential staging of EMS, a round figure in this event would be a minimum contribution of $10,000 to $12,000.
Wouldn't there be an extra cost as far as cleaning up that beach? And so there's quite a bit of different agencies involved in this.
It's every agency. And so when we look at a turnkey situation, it's preparing, executing, and cleanup. And we would just want to have some sort of conversation about remuneration for that so that the others aren't bearing that burden, that the general tax dollars not bearing that burden.
Has there been a meeting with the gentleman and our principal staff?
Yes.
With all this detail we have about how many EMS people, how many fire people, how many?
Yes, sir. And we also had Mr. Stanley at the table to confer about his contributions and his perception of the safety and or risk involved at his facility. And we have done that on 2 different occasions. Yes, sir.
So I'm back to the money.
The best estimate I can give you based on the information that we've procured here tonight and in past sit-down conversations is a minimum contribution when it all nets out of $10,000 to $12,000 of actual hard labor costs that would be added to that weekend that we will not have without the event.
Any other questions for Mr. Drum from the board? Or staff? All right, if there's, and Michelle, correct me if I'm wrong, if there's no more testimony, we would close the public hearing and then enter the deliberation phase. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And to Commissioner Vogel's question about how much beach would be available on that aerial, I measured pre-beach nourishment, there was about 100 feet between the dune and the swash zone, and post-beach nourishment, there's 200 feet. of depth of beach. So depending on the tide and things like that, we've got some space to work with. And obviously, all of those components are mobile. So if there ends up being an issue, they can kind of scoot around as they need to.
Michelle, one question.
Yes, sir.
Does this in any way at all fit in with our itinerant merchant ordinance? Is there any correlation or?
I believe satellite merchant is more of a long-term identification of merchant. This is a temporary special event. So having a week under my belt, I can't say for sure. I look forward to being able to say for sure. But in the general sense of what that typically is, that would be more of like an annual basis than a one-time, one weekend in a year sort of thing.
Thank you.
Good question. Thank you.
Any other questions for Michelle from the board or staff?
I want to make sure before you close public hearing, I want to make sure if anybody else in the audience is here to speak for or against it.
Is there anyone else in the audience that has factual information that they would like to share with the board? No? Okay, thank you. All right, if there's no other testimony from sworn-in individuals, I'll make a motion, or I'll ask for a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, public hearing is now closed. Michelle, do we need to go through these 4 questions individually with the board there? Based on your memo, I'm just making sure I don't miss anything.
Yes. I'm going to leave this guy on for a while. So these are the 4 criteria that the general statutes provide that we need to identify a yes or no answer from each board member with evidence that you saw during the hearing. So you'd go through yes because, yes because, yes because, and then we've got approvals all the way across or disapprovals all the way across, and that's what crafts your decision.
Okay.
And Richard, correct any of this if it's wrong or right. Making sure that all of this is on the record is going to make his job a lot easier should it get called into question. So if you need anything for the record.
I think we need to assume that the plan as submitted and approved is going to include the EMS and the police to the tune of about $10,000 to $12,000.
All right, so I'm going off the bullet, excuse me, on the memo during deliberation. The mayor will review the following required findings with the board members. Each board member should state whether they agree or disagree with each item and state why. Item number 1, that the proposed use will not materially endanger the public health or safety if located where proposed and if developed according to the plan as submitted and approved. Commissioner Finch, do you agree or disagree with that?
I agree.
Commissioner Messer?
Disagree.
Commissioner Vogel?
Disagree.
Disagree.
Disagree. Item 2, that the use meets all conditions and specifications required by this ordinance and other applicable town, county, state, and federal laws and regulations. Commissioner Finch?
I disagree.
Commissioner Messer?
Disagree.
Commissioner Vogel?
Disagree.
Commissioner Normile?
Disagree.
That the proposed use will not substantially injure the value of abutting or adjoining property, or that the use is a public necessity. Commissioner Finch?
Say that, read that again, please.
Yes, sir. Do you agree or disagree that the proposed use will not substantially injure the value of abutting or adjoining property, or that the use is a public necessity? Commissioner Finch, agree or disagree?
I disagree.
Commissioner Messer?
Disagree.
Commissioner Vogel?
I disagree.
Disagree.
Commissioner Normile disagrees as well.
They need to indicate why we need to go back to the first 2 in a minute.
All right.
They need to indicate why they disagree.
Commissioner Finch, you agreed that the proposed use will not materially endanger the public health or safety if located where proposed and if developed according to the plan is submitted and approved.
I agreed to that
You state why
initially.
and why you agree?
I don't feel like it's going to endanger our public health or our safety if we propose to have the additional police officers, EMS, and whoever that's present at that. So That's the reason I would agree to that, providing that those conditions are met.
Understood, thank you. Commissioner Messer, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, you disagree?
I disagree because it'll endanger our budget.
Commissioner Vogel?
I disagree, although assuming that the emergency services and LEOs will be on site and will have those things, I still think that based on the space that's available and the site that's been laid out, there will be spillage into other parts of the beach, in front of other parts of the beach, and crowd control of that size. And there are also not food facilities or drink facilities, which means there will be even more crowd control because there'll be coolers and other things that will have to be managed on the beach. So I do think there's a danger to public safety.
Commissioner Norma?
Sure. My angst is just the financial part, the money part. We just finished the budget. It's a great event, but we just finished the budget and we turned down many things that other folks wanted. And if in this section, I feel if I approve this, it's nothing against the event, but we just turned down a lot of other things that other people wanted in putting our budget together. And then if I say yes, it just doesn't make sense. I just can't spend that money right now.
Thank you. Back to item 2. Agree or disagree that the use meets all conditions and specifications required by this ordinance and other applicable town, county, state, and federal laws and regulations. Commissioner Finch, I'll go back to you for agree or disagree and a reason, sir.
I disagreed initially, and I'm afraid that it may not meet our UDO specifications and guidelines.
Thank you. Commissioner Messer?
I would agree, I disagree, but I would agree with Commissioner Finch's statement about the UDO.
Commissioner Vogel?
I also disagreed based on requirements in the UDO for parking.
Commissioner Normile?
It's the same UDO. Disagree, yes, sir.
Disagree, UDO. All right, bullet 3, that the proposed use will not substantially injure the value of abutting or adjoining property, or that the use is a public necessity. Agree or disagree, and why, Commissioner Finch?
I disagree, and I can't say wholeheartedly, but I just feel like it could endanger the value of the abutting properties.
Okay. Commissioner Messer?
I disagree because it is not a public necessity.
Commissioner Vogel?
I disagreed because I don't believe it's that the use is a public necessity.
Commissioner Normile?
I agree. I don't have a problem with the event in general.
Okay. And last bullet, number 4, that the location and character of the use, if developed according to the plan as submitted and approved, will be in harmony with the area in which it is to be located and in general conformity with the land use plan as updated and amended for the town. Agree or disagree, and why, Commissioner Finch?
I disagree with that because of the land use plan. I'm afraid it may not adhere to that.
Thank you. Commissioner Messer?
Well, I disagree because I don't believe it'll be in harmony with our normal operation because it's going to shut down part of the beach.
Commissioner Vogel?
I also disagreed with number 4 because I also don't believe it will be in harmony with the area. I think the area in general, we have a large occupancy, as Matt pointed out earlier, in terms of traffic. I think the occupancy in terms of vacation rentals and vacationers who will still be here will still be in the 50 and 60% range. Again, large crowds, small area, limited parking. I don't believe it will be in harmony with the area.
Thank you. Commissioner Norma?
Disagree. It's about the parking and safety. Just too much in one small area.
Thank you. Given the deliberation and review of these 4 criteria, the board can choose one of the following motions. Approval to grant the special use permit, approval with conditions, which conditions must be agreed upon by the applicant, or denial of the motion. Approved with conditions, or denied would be the 3 motions that would be available.
Mayor, board members, you didn't approve any of the 4. So it would seem to me to be in order to.
I was going by the process on the memo that they had to agree or disagree.
Yes, sir, they didn't agree to any of the four, so it seemed to be in order to, a motion to deny.
I'll ask for a motion one way or the other out of all the three, so I'll need a motion before we can move forward.
I'll make a motion to deny.
There's a motion on the floor to deny the special use permit for the Sweet Willie's Beach Blitz. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is approved to deny the special use permit. All right, item 13 on the agenda is the resolution for demolition at 8524 Ocean View Drive. So, Michelle, if you would come back up for that one, please.
All right. So along with coming in at the 11th hour on something that's very important, we're looking at the condemnation process for a single-family home here in Emerald Isle. In the memo that was provided in the agenda packet, we've got a breakdown of code enforcement activities. You'll see where, you know, the first date is May 2021. The house that we're discussing tonight was damaged in Hurricane Florence. There is evidence of a tarp that was on the roof at some point, and it has since disintegrated. So there was effort at some point directly after the storm to put a tarp on the roof. And since then, we have had no motion, no correspondence with the property owners. They've received all of our certified mailings and have not responded. We had a hearing with the building inspector that was not attended. We've gone through the entire procedure prior to bringing it forward to you tonight to basically expend town funds to remove this structure that is in violation of our minimum housing ordinance and has been for several years. I'll point out Hurricane Florence was almost 4 years ago now. So this house has gone unloved for long enough, and we're looking to have it removed for the safety of the community.
Thank you very much. Any questions or comments or concerns from the board? Thank you for that update. We'll need a motion to move forward on that.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the ordinance authorizing the demolition of a residential structure at 8524 Ocean View Drive and impose a lien to recover the cost.
Thanks, Commissioner Finch. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion is approved. Thank you, Michelle. All right, next up will be Superman Ocean Rescue Coordinator Billy Mathias with our Beach Hero program. Sorry, Beach Heroes.
For that, there we go. I definitely want to say, not Superman, not a hero, but we are encouraging everybody here in this room, along with our community, to be an Emerald Isle Beach Hero. Last month, the notion was put forward for the reconvening of our beach safety initiatives on our beach strand. That goes every season. Additionally, we wanted to reach out and target that transient audience that we struggle with in coming here to Emerald Isle for those vacations. Obviously, that education is very pertinent to letting everybody know what's going on our beach strand, what we hold dear and near to our hearts here on Emerald Isle. So with the Beach Heroes initiative, we focused on acronym as in HEROES, H being monitor your holes. You come to the beach strand, it may be a bad day on the beach, and we don't want you going into that water to do any type of swimming activities on those red flag days. So your grandchild or yourself, for that matter, digs a hole. Nothing wrong with that at all. But please remember, when you do leave the beach strand for that day, fill those holes back in. They're not only a danger for emergency response vehicles, other patrons on the beach strand, but also our marine life that visits our beach strand throughout the year. E in HEROES is the emergency lane. Just talked about that. That emergency lane is set up high for several reasons. It is a hard packed sand, and we want to maintain that clearance there, but also it gives our guards on the beach strand, also the officers patrolling that beach strand, a kind of higher level of vision to see what's going on as they patrol that beach strand. R in HEROES is rip currents. One of the things that occurs to our beach strand due to the sandbars that we see, we want to educate about rip currents, make everybody aware of them. Oftentimes we see people don't understand what they're called in out there in the ocean. So trying to educate about those rip currents is very, very important for us. O is obey our safety flags. We have 30 of these locations across our beach strand along with several other along our paved highways and streets. So understanding the definitions of those flags we felt is a huge key in safety along our beach strand. E in HEROES is adequate. Practicing that adequate on the beach strand, what you carry in, you carry out plus some. Also, maintaining the dunes. Don't stand in those dunes. They're very, very important to maintaining our livelihoods here, not only as owners to the property along Emerald Isle, but those dunes are our protection during storms. And then S, to sum up the beach heroes, is always swim together. It's never advised to go out into the ocean alone. Always have somebody swimming with you or have somebody on that beach strand as a water watcher, watching you while you're in the water for any type of medical conditions that may occur. As you heard our mayor speak about the Emerald Fest, we want to say that we have a Heroes Academy. We're trying to target those transient populations visiting our area. That Heroes Academy is going to present a slice of safety. Our first one was 2 weeks ago. The last Thursday night got canceled due to rain and storms in the area. This Thursday night, I will be present. I will be talking about rip currents, educating about longshore currents, and so trying to get that interactiveness with those transient population families. We have found that educating the young oftentimes educates those parents while you're back at the dinner table. We're quick to listen to those young children tell us what we're doing wrong. So, and then on the 21st, I believe we have the United States Coast Guard coming for that Heroes Academy at a slice of safety. At these Emerald Fests, we have started with some fans to keep you cool while you're waiting. Also with these Emerald Fests, we are providing food for those people to come enjoy that Hero Academy segment of the Emerald Fest. Stand by with me here. We've got koozies. On one side has the Beach Heroes with the QR code. If you scan that QR code, it takes you to the town's webpage. And that is our safety page as far as what our flags for the day are and any other pertinent information, videos of rip currents, our flag definitions and meanings. Also have coasters made up. So all these can be given out along with lollipops, being interactive, trying to teach the kids. We'll see that on Thursday night. So please come out. I encourage everybody local visiting our area here in this room, as you do time and time again, putting that effort in to make our community safe and help us educate that population that does enjoy our area. But take that moment, if you're on the beach strand, educate about safety. You see somebody doing an unsafe act, please notify them. If not, flag somebody down on that beach strand and let us educate them as well. I think I've covered everything. I thank y'all for your time.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you all for your work in this program. It's a fantastic initiative. I look forward to seeing it grow. At this point, we'll invite up Town Manager Matt Zapp to update us on our Emerald Isle Fire-EMS merger.
On Wednesday, July 6th, we rolled out a new initiative after nearly 1 year of comprehensive detail analysis. We want to thank the town board, the assigned individuals from the elected level, all of our staff members that work cooperatively across the fire, EMS departments, human resource, finance, and my office, that we worked through trying to determine the best and most appropriate manner to begin this conversation about a potential opportunity to merge our emergency services departments. So what we're proposing, and we proposed to the public and publicly announced on Wednesday, is the unification of both services, being fire, EMS, and also the inclusion of ocean rescue that you've seen a fantastic report prior to mine. So this is a chance for us to blend the two departments, rebrand and label them under a single unified structure to enhance both fire, emergency services, and ocean rescue, and focus on the protection of all citizens, visitors, and property owners in Emerald Isle. If this is a national trend, we shared this information internally on multiple occasions, and we rolled this conversation out to staff last week, but we are looking at a fire-based EMS system. This will not only provide for enhanced patient care, It will also improve our training and educational growth opportunities, and it single-handedly will streamline our administration and take out an opportunity for duplication of services. So what this means in general terms is all of our staff members, whether it be the 18 current members of the fire department, the 8 current members of the EMS department, will all be cross-trained. The minimum standard would be firefighter training qualified and a basic EMT certification. But our goal is to not just meet the base minimum, it's to enhance the opportunities for each of those team members that we currently have. So our identified areas of concerns in EMS were an increased response time for incidents. This is not new information, but obviously our numbers are higher. Our visitation numbers are on record, as well as the number of people that currently and we anticipate will be staying on island year-round 12 months out of the year. Our data shows a serious increase in call volume, and the period studied was the last 5 years dominantly through the seasons of 2016 up and through the conclusion of 2021. We also saw a need for a second EMS station. So outside of the conversation of building a second structure, the opportunity to put on a second ambulance year-round, fully staff that, would be an immediate increase to our budget equitable to $500,000. And those staffing concerns, we're already struggling to find the 8 full-time team members that we have due to that single line of work being EMS service, that we felt that going forward, it would provide an even greater hardship, if you will, to make sure that we had 16 full-timers. On the fire side, there was an increase in response time specifically to the Point and Coast Guard Road, so the western end of the island. We are also looking for additional personnel qualifications and standards that Chief Mathias can speak to more intently, but the bottom line is that when we have to respond to a fire call, we need a minimum number of individuals there to get the boxes checked. And we have had for years, for nearly 4 decades, an extensive amount of volunteerism and callback return. But when you're also thinking about the traffic and the time to get back to the island if you live off island, or the ability to get to that call in an immediate need, really if we're suited up and at the stations, we can respond quicker. We are proposing a phased approach. This is for the public's edification. We made the internal and external announcements last week on Wednesday, the 6th of July. We're proposing a January 1, 2023 merger date, but based on our payroll system, it actually falls on December 28th. So what we're looking is a unified department as early as the first of the year for 2023, and then we can phase in the addition of a couple of items. So things that we need to pay attention to. We are aware that Chief Walker and Chief Askew, who have been recognized last month and this month for their respective 35 and 34 years of service, will be coming up on another anniversary of 36 and 35 years respective. We anticipate that those 2 fine gentlemen may be retiring, and we're trying to accommodate for and prepare for that. Now, if they choose to stay another, we said it in our staff meeting, if they choose to stay another 35, that'd be great. But we do think at 35 and 36 years that we are needing to prepare for those advancements. While we looked at this new plan, it also proposes an opportunity for market salary adjustments to make sure we are the most competitive, keeping the most trained staff members serving you and serving me. So I know that when we make that phone call, and you have to unfortunately dial those 3 digits of 911, that we're coming to somebody's home, business, or place of incident on what is potentially their worst day of their lives. We as our staff want to be there on the best day of our life. We want to be there with the most proper equipment that Laura showed that now is a $3.5 million defeasance off of the tax rolls, with brand new equipment, the most trained staff, and all the tools we need to respond to each incident as best as we can. And this phased approach is helping us get there. So our response analysis shows that on the furthest extents of the community, we do have a little bit longer lead time. And by blending the departments for EMS, by having responders at both Station 1 and Station 2, we can dramatically reduce those response call times. The second thing we want to point out is, right now we're currently running a second ambulance during peak months, which really begins in April and runs us through late September, early October. We want to make sure we have that same kind of redundancy and protection for all residents year-round, whether their incident occurs in December or January, or if it occurs in the month of July like this year. So if we were to look at the locations for fire, we do have opportunities on the extent of our response time to do some improvements, and we are looking at all these choices and options on how do we man the stations with personnel and where are those stations located. In general, what we're proposing is a new integrated structure where we have 3 leadership team members in the form of a fire chief, a deputy fire chief, and an assistant fire chief to help all the administrative duties. This would allow us to have on shift up to 8 individuals 365 days a year. And what we're proposing is, I believe, effective July 13th is your shift change. July 13th, we're looking at a new shift change opportunity that the staff members have worked on diligently, going to an active 48 hours on and a continuous 96 hours off. We're trying to provide this chance for our staff members to come in and work 2 shifts before headed home. So there's a cost savings to those staff members in their fuel to and from home. And there's also a cost savings as they buy their groceries, for example. They're living together for 24 hours. If you've ever prepared a meal at the house, you may have some leftovers. So as they prepare their meals as a shift, they can prepare their meals on day 1, and then they can have a cost savings of their out-of-pocket expenses on day 2. So the shifts are all finding the trends and abilities to recruit and retain team members are better if you have a 48-96 shift, and we are beginning that as early as July 13th for both both firehouses, and then we're looking at a shift change for EMS as early as December. So our current response services, on the left side, you'll show that we have 1 station for EMS, 1 ambulance, and 8 full-timers. On the fire, we currently are utilizing 2 stations, and you'll see 18 FTEs for a total of 7 per day. The new model in the unified response services is calling for 2 stations with an opportunity to have 8 FTEs on for a total of plus or minus 27. We're obviously accounting for the potential retirements and planning accordingly for those. So what this does is it cross-trains the individuals that can either jump on a fire truck and roll to a full engulfed flame situation, or if there's an emergency level on a lower tier and it's emergency medical response, they can be available to those as well. Now, my job tonight was to help you with the high level. If you have any detailed questions, and I say this with the most sincerity, that our chief has helped us through this whole process. I know that Chief Walker will answer any direct questions that you have. Ocean Rescue Coordinator Matthias can help us as well, and we can speak on behalf of EMS and Chief Jones's absence this evening. Is there any questions that the board has, or potentially even the public, that what we'd like to do, Mayor, with your permission, is open that opportunity to chat and just share with people that a lot of thought has gone into this. The ultimate goal is a win-win, which will help our staff members gain more education, more training, and a better opportunity on an ascension, but simultaneously equipping our team with the best players that we put on the field every single day so that when that call goes out, we can respond to you as fast as possible, as safe as possible, and with the most well-qualified personnel.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Matt.
Any questions from the board?
Nice job, Matt, to you and the team. This is a really great evolution of those departments as our town grows and the needs of our town have grown tremendously over the last couple of years. So nice job.
We appreciate it.
Fantastic work. It's been a pleasure watching the town staff and the Emergency Services Task Force and the town staff and the department heads and their teams really work together to get where we are. It's impressive. Thank you.
And I would like to reiterate that they are working well together today. This is just an opportunity to go from good to great. Not putting our chief on the spot today, but I watched the tones going off. How many water rescues did we respond to just today? 6 responses in a very compact 4-hour period. So in addition to those 18 firefighters and 8 full-time EMS staff members and the 20 lifeguards that we have, we were all across the Strand today, in addition to any other calls that went out. So we want to thank those staff members that are sacrificing themselves on a daily basis today, and we're really thrilled about the opportunities that exist for them, both at the start of 2023 and potentially at the next budget cycle, July 1 of '23. They do a tremendous service for all of us, and they often do it at a very low wage, and we do appreciate it. And we feel that the more training and more education we get, the better they can be remunerated for the skills that they're bringing to the table.
Okay, item number 16, we'll leave Mr. Matt Zapp at the podium for an update on our yard debris site lease agreement.
Absolutely. I'll switch our emergency services cap over for Public Works opportunity here. And this is starting to get to be a broken record. As you saw with Alicia Sanderson's 30-plus years of service and retirement and a hire there, we also are facing 2 key retirements. We've had 2 police chiefs retire out. Now we're facing 2 more in fire. We also want to remind everyone that Public Works Director Artie Dunn, with 32 years of service, is anticipating that his final day full-time with us will be the 1st of October. While we have Artie's acumen and institutional knowledge, we had been working on a project for a little over 2 years of how to manage the increase that we're seeing in yard debris. And we are currently now running 2 yard debris trucks, 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, picking up anywhere between 125 and 185 stops on average per day. And we are carrying roughly $55,000 to $60,000 a year of this debris material to a third party and paying to dispose of it. What we have been able to do is work with the Coastal Environmental Partnership and the Carteret County staff to find an area just a few miles up the road on NC 58. And with that coastal partnership, we're proposing tonight your consideration of a lease agreement where we can procure 8 acres used for natural vegetative yard debris, which will cut our travel time in half, will help us reduce the costs for disposal, and provide a potentially green return back to the community. And when I say that, we can take the materials that we're picking up on a daily basis, store them at this site, and annually or as needed, if more frequent, tub grind those materials into a usable compost or mulch and potentially sell those off to do as an offset or even give back to property owners on islands. So this is a complete circle of finding an inexpensive choice, reducing our overall cost as taxpayers, not only maintaining but improving the level of service with the potential return of recycled materials. These are those rare opportunities as a town manager that you come to the board with a win-win-win, where we feel it's going to be great for the resident, it's good for our maneuverability and costs, and it's also good for the environment. So in this case, we're proposing your consideration of a $1,250 a month lease agreement with the Coastal Environmental Partnership for an 8-acre site conveniently located in the Pelletier limits, just a few miles up the road on NC 58.
Thank you, Matt. Any questions from the board for Matt?
Just a comment, this is gonna save a lot of money.
Yes, sir.
On fuel and time, and like I say, been working on it a couple of years, and I'm glad to see it happen, because this is gonna be a big money saver.
I'd like to thank Artie Dunn for his contributions to this project, and Laura and I are very supportive of where we're tracking, and we think that anytime pennies add up to nickels, which make dollars, and it's for us a huge opportunity.
And in that light, I'd like to make a motion to authorize the town manager to execute the agreement with the Coastal Environmental Partnership.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is approved. Thank you, Matt.
On that note, I just want to also thank Attorney Stanley, because he helped us work through this agreement over the last few weeks, and we're in a very sound position, and we'll make sure what we execute is in the best interest of everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll move on to the next item, which would be any comments from our town clerk, attorney, and manager. Comments, Anna?
I just want to say today marks a year I've been your clerk. I appreciate getting to work with such a great board and such an amazing team. I really do have the greatest team behind me, so that means a lot. Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you. Let's see, Richard Stanley.
No, sir.
Thanks, sir.
Yes, sir.
Just a couple of quick comments. One, again, we'd like to welcome Michelle and thank her for her joining our team as a planning director. If there's anyone in the community that needs to stop in and say hello, we'd love for you to meet her, and we're welcoming her aboard. We also want to thank Donnie Askew for his near 3.5 decades of service, and let him know that we're keeping both he and his wife in our prayers this evening, as he couldn't be here to get the accolades he so well deserves. And I'd be remiss if I didn't tell the staff and the board and the community how many hours Laura Rochford has put into this project to secure nearly $10 million for the town of Emerald Isle, which is helping us not only protect what we're doing, but keep that $10 million off the tax scrolls. And this is, I'm celebrating, I think, my 19th, coming in my 20th year. And she has made what is easily described as a Herculean event. And I hope I'm not stealing all your kudos, Commissioner Normal, but I'm taking a page out of your book.
3 out of 4, but that's okay. I usually go last, so I have to keep several on hand.
And we had huge shoes to fill with Alicia Sanderson's retirement, and I can't say enough for Candace Dooley, what she and Anna and the Summit Engineering team have done. We've held community surveys before. To get 800+ responses
Amazing.
is very strong. So the fact that people have already contributed, and we very much are excited about tomorrow's face-to-face roundtable conversation. So if you're local and you have the ability to come in and sit down, it's really hearing and finding out what needs to be done and making educated moves forward. So again, thanks to Candace and Anna for those communication strategies.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner from the board, we'll start on the other end of the table here. Commissioner Normeyer.
What?
Yeah.
Caught me off guard, I wasn't ready.
Stolen by the time it gets done.
Matt hit 3 out of 4, but they were good comments and well-deserved. Welcome, Michelle. Look, when I got that first, well, it came to all of us, that first UDO email, outlined the path forward, the dates, times, which sections to review, what to get ready for. I knew we'd done the right thing. I'm glad you're here. I should say, we are all glad you're here. How about that? Can we, it's up to mayor and manager, can we invite Donnie and put him on the schedule for next month? Absolutely. He deserves a standing ovation and a back slap in person, so to speak.
Yeah.
Can we do that?
Yeah.
84 million in the last so many years in total grants and savings. Like unbelievable. So we appreciate that. Here's one that Matt did not mention. Had to write these numbers down. So we just finished the fiscal year, and I don't have the June numbers, but you know, this whole trash thing has been on my brain coming off the beach strand for going this summer and last summer. So not including June, because I don't have those numbers yet. Public Works already is not here. The truck with the few fellas in the back, when it's 100 degrees out, for 11 months, they've toted off by hand 125 tons of trash from the beach train. We got to find a path forward. I'm going to come up with something and present it, but kudos to Artie and his team for hand toting, and it shouldn't be that much. There's got to be a better way, but thanks to them, and Ms. Michelle, glad you're here.
Thanks, sir. Commissioner Vogel.
Welcome, Michelle. We're very glad to have you. Anna, happy anniversary. Long overdue. And of course, Mr. Askew has 34 years of service. I mean, I'll mirror what Michelle said earlier. To have a culture where people stay for that long and are happy and thriving and in an amazing town is just amazing. And I do hope that his wife feels better. I want to give a shout out to Matt, Chief, Anna, all of the people who were involved in all of the neighboring towns, Emerald Isle Realty and Mac Daddy's, for what was one of the most spectacular 4th of July events I think I've ever attended. It was very well put together. I'm sure there's some angst after the fireworks. If you've ever attended a fireworks show, there's always a little bit of traffic afterwards, but it was amazing. And I look forward to many years to come on that event. And that being said, large scale events take a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of headspace and taking the right paths to get there. And I know that the town of Emerald Isle supports these large scale events, you know, like the 4th of July fireworks, like some of the ideas that were brought forward tonight. But it does take a lot of time, a year or more, to put them together. So I appreciate all of the effort.
Thank you, ma'am. Commissioner Messer.
Welcome to Michelle. Speaking for myself, and I think probably Commissioner Finch too, that was a great outline on the UDO because we were on that committee and we were ready to get it done. And sounds like we got a good plan. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Finch.
This is the disadvantage of going last. You guys have said it all. But Michelle, welcome to Emerald Isle and look forward to working with you on the UDO committee. Don Askew, thank you for all your extended service through the year. Laura, you and the staff, thank you for everything that you have done as far as our grants and beyond that. And last of all, I just want to thank all the employees with the town of Emerald Isle of making it what it is. To each and every one of you, thank you.
Thank you, sir. And I'm sorry for switching the order there. I can't let all the good ideas come from yours and Mark's end of the table there. But I couldn't say any of what was said any better. So contrary to popular history, I have no further comment. Thank you and welcome. And proud to know you all. I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
So move.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned.